Well, isn't this interesting? Isn't this trucking industry great and awesome and so much fun right now? It's fantastic to be involved in all this, to see all these low rates. It's never been better for anybody, really. I think people are making money left, right, and center. Obviously, this is a joke, but I wanted to play something just from one trucker that said something to someone that was interviewing them, and I thought it was a bit of a interesting comment that he made. So I'll play it right now just so you guys can hear what he says. Just hold up my phone like this. So this is what this gentleman says. So he says like this. Is drivers talking about so hold on a sec. Saying, okay, so right now is drivers talking about rates. They're saying right now, hold on a sec. Let me find the actual video here. So
what would you say is one of the biggest problems in the industry?
Right now is drivers talking about rates. They're saying rates are too low, that they can't make enough, and that's bull. Because our rates today in this market are still real close or a little above 2018 prior to pandemic. The biggest problem is during the pandemic, we had thousands and thousands of people get into the industry because rates were high. They were chasing the dollars.
Exactly.
While they were chasing the dollars, we knew this wasn't going to last forever. They thought it was. Mm-hmm. So they went out and bought mom a new Cadillac. They bought new boats and RVs and brand new trucks. They overpaid for these new trucks, right? Some of them $100,000 overpaid. Well, now they're so upside down. Now we're back to pre-pandemic rates, which were better than they were back in 08 and 09 in the industry. Yeah. That was a rough time.
Right.
But this goes in 4-year cycles, this industry. It's about every 4 years we have downs, and then we come back up for 4 years, and then we're back down. So when you're making money, like during the pandemic, you shouldn't have been spending that money. You should have been stashing that cash in the bank.
Mm-hmm. I call that living the rock star life.
Yes, that's what they were doing, living the rock star life. They thought they were, all rock stars, and they thought this was going to continue forever. And now it has crashed, and now they've landed on their ass, and they're struggling. They can't make it. And they're blaming everybody except for that guy they look at in the mirror every morning.
What would you say is one of the biggest problems in the industry?
So he's not wrong in some instances to say certain things, but it's different now in 2024 than it was in 2018 or 2008 when things went down the way they did. So he's not wrong, but I it's a big difference now compared to back then because prices of everything right now have skyrocketed. Fuel is just one example. That's one line item. I mean, we could sit here and name 22 line items plus that trucking companies have to pay, that have to source it out properly and make sure they have the cash to deal with the expenses of a day-to-day trucking operation. So to say that it's better than it was back then, slightly better, maybe the rates are slightly better than they were back then in those rough times as well. But the problem is, like I said, I mean, everything is up depending on what you're looking at. Some things are up tenfold. Okay. Um, Parts, labor, whatever, fuel, doesn't matter, whatever you want to label, it's up. So again, from what he said, it was a little bit misleading, making it sound like everything is great right now when things aren't so great. And yes, he's correct. Some people did make good money during 2021 upcycle, and they spent it all right away, which is not a good idea at all. Okay, definitely there should have been some cash reserve, some cash left out on the side there to help out on a rainy day like we're seeing today. And that's some advice I'd like to give owner operators that are out there that are either looking to get into this business or looking to open up their own authority. Leave 10% minimum, 10% of your profit. Okay, if you can. Okay, whatever that profit is at the end of the year or at the end of the month, excuse me, leaving 10% of it for a rainy day, will help you get through rough times. And if there's repairs needed, if there's something like that needed, um, it'll help out. Okay. Actually, if you can do that in general, just leaving 10% of your income aside for a rainy day, that's going to help out with the down cycles that we all experience. And standard of living right now is through the roof. It's more so the cost of living that has been, obviously highlighted in both Canada and the United States. Um, Everything from groceries and then onward has went up. I just went to Home Depot and bought myself some deck staining oil, just the transparent wood finish oil that actually is the clear finish, the transparent clear finish oil. And with two brushes and a pan and the oil itself, my total cost was just over $380, which is ridiculous, considering that I probably will need an extra can. That is an extra bucket, the big buckets, the 18 point plus, so the 5 gallon buckets, to complete my project, my mini project in my backyard. So, and that's up probably about 40% from what it was last time around that I did it. So that's ridiculous. I think that's definitely too much. And, we're all struggling right now. It definitely is a survival mode for everybody that's involved in trucking and logistics at the moment. And, I guess we'll see where it all goes. But again, with this gentleman saying that it's, better than it ever has been, um, you know, sure, great. Prices may be okay for some lanes, but the biggest problem is the fact that the inflation is too high right now. And, you know, to upkeep an operation, to keep a trucking company afloat, it's a lot more money today. So, that's why we need to definitely consider that when we say things like, yeah, it's better than it's ever been, or that it's better than it sometime was. Fuel today and fuel in 2008 were different in terms of price per gallon, price per liter, whatever, however you price that out. So that's something we have to consider when we're making these comments as well. Well, we'll see how we get out of this, if we're going to be able to get out of this, because maybe the U.S. side will get out of it before we do in Canada. I feel that there are people there saying that are optimistic, saying 6 to 8 months that we'll be out of this issue. But again, I'm a truly an optimistic person that we will get out of this. However, I do think that this will be, unfortunately, 2 to 3 year process for us up here in Canada to get out of the rates that we're seeing right now. And I also said that one of the biggest problems in the industry is the fact that we have um, people that are coming into this industry that did not educate themselves about how to run a trucking company, how to price loads appropriately, both contract and spot rates. And so that's a big problem as well. And that's why 90% of owner operators, when they're starting out their companies with a one truck, one trailer, that's why 90% of them fail, is because they didn't do their due diligence of educating themselves as to how they should price out loads. And the race to the bottom seems to be always on, and that's a big problem that we got to somehow, um, you know, get under control. So we'll see how it all works out, I guess.